There's something incredibly powerful about a woman who knows how to keep just enough mystery alive, not because she's playing games, but because she's genuinely living a rich, independent life that doesn't revolve around him. Mystery doesn't mean being elusive or manipulative. It means staying rooted in your authenticity and self-worth, so much so that he can't quite figure you out completely. He sees layers, but not all at once. He notices you smile, but wonders what's behind that smile. He feels the warmth of your presence, but senses there's a deeper world within you he hasn't yet accessed, and that makes him want to keep showing up, learning more, investing more. Mystery is often misunderstood. It's not about being unavailable. It's about being selective. A man is wired to pursue, but not just anything. He's not chasing someone because she ignores his texts or plays hot and cold. That only creates confusion or resentment. He chases someone because she makes him feel something he doesn't feel with anyone else. And that something is often created by the quiet strength of a woman who holds herself with dignity, grace, and just enough emotional space to be captivating. Think about it. People are drawn to what they can't fully predict. That's the magic of mystery. Predictability might bring comfort, but mystery brings excitement. When you're always available, always agreeable, always giving, you might think you're showing love. But what you're actually doing is removing the need for him to show up in a meaningful way. If he knows he can call you last minute and you'll say yes every time, where is the challenge? Where is the anticipation? Where is the effort? A mysterious woman doesn't rush to fill every silence. She doesn't overshare every thought or emotion on the first date. She lets him lean in to learn more. She gives him the gift of discovering her slowly, and in that slow reveal, he feels like he's earning her attention, her affection, her trust. And that's what hooks him. Because men don't fall in love with women they understand immediately. They fall in love with women who surprise them, who keep unfolding in new and beautiful ways. Mystery also means you don't need to broadcast your value. You live it. You don't say, "I'm high value." You show it by how you carry yourself, how you make decisions, how you handle your emotions. You don't chase, you don't cling, you don't make someone the center of your world before they've earned that space. You're kind, warm, feminine, but you're not easy to get, and that distinction is key. Men respect what they have to invest in, and they stay for what they feel they might lose if they don't keep showing up as their best selves. This doesn't mean being aloof or playing hard to get. The real secret lies in being genuinely fulfilled in your own life. When you're doing things you love, spending time with people who uplift you, working on your passions, building something for yourself, you don't need to act mysterious. You are mysterious because your happiness isn't dependent on him. That energy is magnetic. He starts to wonder, where is she going? What's she up to today? What drives her? That's when curiosity becomes desire, and desire becomes pursuit. Let's be honest, there's a difference between mystery and confusion. Confusion turns people off. It makes them feel like they're walking on eggshells. That's not what we're talking about here. Mystery is about emotional depth. It's about having a strong sense of self so that you don't feel the need to prove yourself or force connection. You let him discover who you are over time, and he feels honored every time you reveal a new piece of your world. It's also about boundaries. A mysterious woman doesn't explain every move or justify every no. She says what she means, and she lets her actions speak louder than her words. If something doesn't feel right, she doesn't argue about it. She gracefully steps back. That response tells a man, "I'm not desperate. I'm not here to babysit your potential. I'm here to build something real, but only if you're showing up too." The beauty of mystery is that it keeps the energy alive. It allows for growth. It creates space for healthy pursuit. And when a man is pursuing you, not because you're playing games, but because you're standing in your truth, that's when you become unforgettable. That's when you become the one he can't stop thinking about. Not because you manipulated him into wanting you, but because you awakened something inside him. Something called desire with respect. He doesn't chase you just for your looks or your charm. He chases you because of how he feels when he's around you. He feels challenged, inspired, drawn in. He knows you don't need him, but you're open to him. He knows that being in your life is a privilege, not a given. And that subtle shift in energy is what makes all the difference. Because the truth is, a man will chase you for life when you become the kind of woman who doesn't chase anyone, but instead attracts everything by who she is. So don't be afraid to hold a little back, not your love, not your kindness, but your inner world. Let it unfold naturally. Let him earn it. Let him invest in it. Because in a world of fast likes, instant gratification, and superficial connections, the woman who creates mystery by simply being true to herself will always stand out. And she won't just be wanted, she'll be pursued deeply, intentionally, and for the long haul. A man doesn't fall in love simply because a woman is beautiful, kind, or even perfect. By most societal standards, he falls in love when he feels a deep emotional connection that both comforts and challenges him. That blend is rare. It's the magnetic force that draws him in and keeps him coming back for more. When a woman can create emotional safety while also standing strong in her standards, she becomes more than a romantic partner. She becomes a woman he respects, admires, and can't imagine living without. Emotional safety means he feels accepted in your presence. It means he can breathe, drop the mask, and not feel judged for his vulnerabilities. It's the kind of space where he doesn't need to constantly prove his masculinity or success because your energy tells him, you're safe here, you're seen here. That's powerful. So many men walk around with the pressure to be strong, in control, and emotionless. But when he finds a woman who sees beyond that facade, who allows him to express himself without belittling or diminishing his experience, he begins to form a bond rooted in something deeper than attraction. But here's the truth that most people don't talk about. Emotional safety without challenge becomes complacency. If a woman is only nurturing, supportive, and endlessly forgiving, she may gain his comfort, but not necessarily his deep desire. Why? Because men need to feel they're working towards something, that they are earning the attention, respect, and admiration of a woman who holds high standards, not because she's difficult, but because she knows her worth. A challenge doesn't mean drama. It doesn't mean unnecessary arguments, passive aggression, or emotional games. The challenge that makes a man stay is rooted in your clarity and your backbone. When you say no to behavior that disrespects you, without raising your voice or creating chaos, that's a challenge. When you have the courage to walk away from a connection that doesn't honor you, even when your heart is involved, that's a challenge. When you hold him accountable to grow, to communicate, to show up, and to lead with integrity, you become the woman who pushes him to become a better version of himself. Men fall in love with women who make them rise. It's easy to be agreeable all the time. It's tempting to go along with what he wants, just to keep the peace or avoid discomfort. But when you do that, you train him to believe that minimal effort is enough, and over time, that erodes both his respect and his desire. Instead, when you calmly speak your truth, when you express your boundaries without apology, and when you maintain your values even when it's inconvenient, you set a standard. And men rise to meet standards they admire. This is where many women get stuck. They're either too accommodating, becoming emotional caretakers, or they swing the other way and become overly critical, distant, or emotionally unavailable. Neither extreme works. The sweet spot is in being both soft and strong, warm yet unshakable, loving but not tolerant of low-effort behavior. When a man feels like you genuinely care for him, that you're emotionally invested, but also that you won't settle for less than what you deserve, he feels safe and inspired. And that combination is intoxicating. Think about how rare that energy is. Most people are either chasing approval or trying to maintain control. But when you meet someone who doesn't need to control you, who doesn't seek constant validation, and who still deeply values connection, you remember them. That's who you crave, that's who you respect, and that's exactly how he will see you when you show up with both emotional openness and emotional strength. This dynamic is especially critical in the early stages of dating. If you offer emotional safety too early, like over-nurturing, oversharing, or over-giving, before he's invested, he may enjoy your presence but not feel the urge to pursue you. On the flip side, if you come off as overly guarded or constantly testing him, he may lose interest because the connection lacks warmth. It's in the balance that the magic happens. Let him feel your heart, but also let him feel that you're not afraid to walk away if he can't meet your standards. One of the most attractive qualities in a woman is when she refuses to compromise her peace to accommodate someone's potential. A man knows when he's with someone who believes in him but won't carry him. That's when he begins to step up, not because he's afraid to lose her, but because he wants to deserve her. This emotional challenge also shows up in the way you call him out, not with shaming or sarcasm, but with directness and love. I care about you, but I need honesty. I enjoy our time together, but I won't keep investing if I'm the only one putting in effort. These kinds of statements tell him, you're not here to punish him, but you will walk away if things aren't mutual. And when that energy is backed by action, not just words, he knows he can't play games. Here's the bottom line: emotional safety makes him feel connected. Emotional challenge makes him feel motivated. When you give both, you create a dynamic that's hard to find and impossible to forget. You're not just another woman who made him feel good for a moment. You're the woman who made him feel like a man worth becoming. And once a man experiences that level of emotional depth and inspiration, no other surface-level connection will ever satisfy him again. He'll keep chasing that feeling. And more specifically, he'll keep chasing Y0U. One of the most common mistakes people make early in a relationship is this: they start to let go of the life they had before the relationship began. Slowly but surely, they begin prioritizing him above everything else. Their goals, their friends, their passions, even their routines. And while it may feel romantic in the beginning, it sends the wrong message. My world now revolves around you. Here's the truth: when a man senses that your happiness, energy, and self-worth are becoming tied to his presence, the dynamic shifts. He may not even be consciously aware of it at first, but something changes. The person he was once magnetized to, that vibrant, interesting, independent woman who had her own dreams and didn't need anyone to complete her, starts to fade into someone who depends on him for joy, validation, or direction. Men don't fall in love with a woman because she abandons her life for them. They fall for the woman who includes them in a life that's already rich and fulfilling. A woman who knows who she is, where she's going, and what brings her joy outside of a relationship becomes infinitely more attractive. Why? Because she's not chasing him, she's choosing him. And there's a huge difference between the two. Think about it from his perspective. Imagine meeting someone who radiates confidence, who has a full calendar, who's passionate about her career, or her creativity, or her community. Being around her feels exciting. It's not just about her looks or her laugh. It's about the energy she carries. She's in motion. She's moving forward. She has direction and purpose. So when she makes time for you, you feel lucky not because she's playing hard to get, but because she values her time and yours. Now flip that scenario. Imagine someone who's available all the time, someone who starts canceling her plans just to fit into your schedule, someone who's constantly checking her phone to see if you've messaged, who puts her dreams on hold the moment things get serious. In the beginning, it might feel flattering, but soon it becomes heavy, the pressure builds, the spark fades. Because now, she's not showing up as a partner, she's showing up as someone who's losing herself. You don't need to prove your love by sacrificing your life. You prove it by showing up as a whole person, one who can give love, receive love, and still maintain her individuality. In fact, it's when you're grounded in your own life that love becomes sustainable. That's what keeps the chemistry alive. That's what keeps you interesting, because no matter how connected you are with someone, you should never become a reflection of them. You should remain your own person. The healthiest relationships are not about merging into one being. They're about interdependence, two people supporting each other while staying deeply connected to their own identities. When you have your own passions, your own goals, your own friendships, and your own joy, you stop needing him to fill emotional gaps. And ironically, that's what pulls him closer, because he doesn't feel like he has to rescue you. He feels like he gets to enjoy you. There's a reason men are drawn to women who are busy building something. It doesn't matter what it is, a career, a community, a personal mission, a side hustle, a hobby that lights them up. What matters is that she's creating. She's investing in something outside the relationship that makes her multi-dimensional, that makes her intriguing. And that tells him, you are a part of my life, not the center of it. It's also about boundaries. When you don't abandon your life, you're not just protecting your goals, you're protecting your energy. You're telling him, I love being with you, but I will not lose myself for you. That's a powerful message. And it sets the tone for the entire relationship, because from day one, he learns how to treat you. He learns that your time is valuable, that your identity isn't negotiable, that being with you is a privilege, not a possession. This kind of self-respect invites a different kind of man, the man who's looking for a woman to walk beside, not to lean on or dominate. The man who wants a partner, not a shadow. And when you attract that kind of man, you don't have to beg for consistency, honesty, or effort. He brings those things naturally because he sees you as someone worth showing up for. Let's be honest, the fastest way to lose yourself in a relationship is to make him your emotional home. But when you're your own home, when your life is already rich and meaningful, you're not afraid of losing him. You're not operating from fear, and that changes everything. You communicate differently. You move differently. You don't cling. You connect. You don't tolerate. You choose. And that energy, that's what keeps a man chasing you, not just at the beginning, but long after the honeymoon phase fades. So keep your life, keep your dreams, keep your friendships, keep your passions. Let him see that you're not just a girlfriend or a wife or a partner. You're a whole woman. One with fire in her soul and vision in her eyes. When he sees that you're not waiting around to be chosen, but are actively choosing yourself every day, he'll want to be part of your world. Not out of obligation, but out of admiration. Because in the end, he won't chase the woman who gave up everything for him. He'll chase the woman who inspired him to give more to himself just by being around her. And that woman is unforgettable. Every man has two versions of himself, the one he shows the world and the one he's striving to become. The one that looks confident, cool, and collected on the outside, and the one who, deep down, wants to matter, to be seen, to be someone of substance. A man's ego feeds off attention, admiration, validation, but his purpose, his deeper self, thrives off respect, belief, and challenge. And if you want a man to chase you for life, you don't just stroke his ego. You speak to that deeper part of him. The part that very few people see. Many women unknowingly build connections on surface-level validation. They'll compliment him, flatter him, agree with him, and support him unconditionally. And while there's nothing wrong with encouragement or praise, it's not what keeps a man deeply connected. Because once the high of attention wears off, the question becomes, does this woman actually see me? Or does she just admire the image I show the world? You become unforgettable not when you simply praise him, but when you challenge him to be more of who he truly wants to be. When you call out his greatness, not just to make him feel good, but to hold him to that standard, that's when something shifts. That's when a man sees you as different from the rest, not just someone who supports him when he's shining, but someone who believes in him when he's unsure of himself. Not someone who coddles his comfort zone, but someone who calls him forward. This is powerful because very few people in a man's life actually do that. He's used to being either celebrated blindly or criticized harshly. What he rarely experiences is a woman who can look him in the eye and say, "I see something in you that even you forget sometimes, and I won't let you play small." That's not ego stroking, that's soul-level inspiration. But here's the catch, you can't fake this. You have to come from a place of authenticity and inner strength. You must be so grounded in who you are that you don't need him to validate your worth. When you're secure within yourself, your words carry weight. Your presence commands attention not because you're loud, but because you mean what you say. And that's when your influence becomes real. When you speak to a man's purpose, you don't flatter him for everything. You respect what's real. You affirm the effort he puts in, not just the results. You notice the way he treats people, how hard he's working to build something, how he shows up for those he cares about. And when he slips, or when he starts moving out of alignment, you don't attack him, you remind him of who he is. You become a mirror of his potential, not a fan of his image. That's what makes a man rise. That's what makes him chase. Because you're not just feeding his pride, you're waking up his drive. You're aligning yourself with the part of him that wants to grow, not stay stagnant. And when a man feels like a better version of himself around you, not because you're fixing him, but because you're inspiring him, he doesn't just want you, he wants to deserve you. And here's something most people miss. When you lead with admiration alone, you build his ego. But when you lead with expectation, not in a harsh way, but in a hive, you build his character. A hive, you woman doesn't demand perfection, but she does have standards. She's supportive, but not enabling. She's kind, but not afraid to say, "This isn't you. I know you're better than this." Men respect that deeply because men don't fall in love with the woman who makes everything easy. They fall in love with the woman who makes them want to step up. The woman who reminds them of their mission. The woman who makes them feel like they matter not just because of what they have, but because of who they are and who they're becoming. And the reason most women don't tap into this power is because they're afraid that if they ask too much, the man will leave. Afraid that if they don't always say the right thing, they'll lose his interest. But here's the truth. If a man leaves because you spoke truthfully and held your standards, he was never really committed to growing with you. But if he stays, if he listens, reflects, and responds, it's because he sees in you something he can't find elsewhere. He sees a partner, a teammate, a woman who wants both of you to win. So speak to the man, not the mask. Don't get caught up in just complimenting his charm, his style, or his success. Compliment his consistency, his loyalty, his growth, and when you see him slipping, don't stay silent, speak up, not to shame him, but to call him higher. Speak from belief, not criticism. Speak from strength, not fear, because the woman who makes a man feel seen and challenged in all the right ways is the woman he won't stop chasing. Not because she gave him everything he wanted, but because she spoke to everything he needed to become. And that lasts far longer than attraction,